We're visiting Prague in the Czech Republic, taking you on a walking tour through some of the most interesting parts of the old town.
Well, now we're in another small town square, and with the cafe in the middle and cafes around it, shops. And again, this is leading us right into that main pedestrian lane, which is just here. We're going to take a left and a right, and that'll lead us down to the Charles Bridge about 5 blocks from now. This is a great time to be walking because it's really not crowded once we get away from that crowded square. During the day, this is jam-packed. Like on a summer day, it's gridlock. But looks like we're in luck. It'll be nice and loose and easy. And you'll see another lane leading out in that direction. It's all a pedestrian zone in here. So you can walk in the street. It's perfectly okay. This is the busiest pedestrian street in town. So by all means, walk down the middle. It's okay. We just keep following the crowd. That's all you do. If you wonder, oh my, how do I find the bridge again? Just follow the crowd. It's not a straight road. There are no straight roads in the Middle Ages. But not too busy. Just look at this, we got the road to ourselves right now. Wow. And it all looks very friendly and safe. All the shops are open, the restaurants are just picking up.
Well, Prague is a walker's city that invites detours and digressions. You can also head down into an area of quaint back streets that are perfect for exploring. It's just south of Charles Bridge and the Old Town Square. And within this area, you will be deep in the old city, but somewhat away from the tourists, so it makes a perfect place to meander. The whole neighborhood is ideal for the aimless stroll, offering the perceptive traveler an opportunity for immersion in 18th century architecture and town planning. Shoppers will find many small stores offering local crafts, clothing, and antiques. You're now entering a fascinating labyrinth of quiet, narrow alleys, little squares, charming old buildings, unique shops, inexpensive restaurants, and less tourists. It does help to have a map and a decent guidebook to navigate, but the best way to get around is just follow your nose and then turn whichever way looks more interesting. There are numerous tunnels and mid-block passages through buildings and courtyards that can lead to quiet glimpses of behind-the-scenes life in the city. The next most entertaining sight in Prague is the famous Charles Bridge, spanning the Vltava River, also called the Moldau River. To get to the bridge from the main square, just follow the crowd heading west past the clock tower into the narrow, twisting Karlova Street, or Charles Street, which is the busiest and most congested pedestrian street in town. It's only 4 short blocks with some confusing left and right turns, but join the flow of bodies and you will easily arrive at the bridge.
When you're on the Charles Bridge,
the bridge is a very special place, for it joins the 2 main historic sections of town, the Old Town and the Malá Strana across the river. Construction began in 1357 during the reign of Charles IV, Prague's most important king, and was finished about 50 years later.
Beautiful sight, isn't it? Yeah. The castle up on the hill, and such clear weather for us now and a nice temperature. There are 30 statues on this bridge, and each one is life-sized, representing various saints, of course. It's all very religious.
The Baroque statues were added in the 18th century, based somewhat on the work of Bernini at Rome's Ponte Sant'Angelo. The bridge is not only the best way to get across town, it is a destination in itself for the splendid views, the street musicians, and the shopping from the outdoor kiosks that stretch along its 500-yard length.
At the lesser town end, you have a beautiful view of the Gothic guard towers, especially late in the day. It has this imposing tower at one end, and at the other end a similar tower and a smaller tower. You can pay to go up there, and during the day it's really quite nice up on that tower. You get a good view looking across at the bridge and over at the castle Now look at not just the cathedral, but the whole top of that hill is surmounted by a building. That's the castle. The lesser town is over on that side of the river. Of course, there's always lots of artists the whole length of the bridge, and jewelry vendors, craftsmen. The river is Vltava. And there's boat rides, but they're not as exciting as the one in Budapest. There's really nothing to see on a boat ride, so don't bother with that.
There's also a complex of shops and restaurants and cafes off to the side of the bridge, and you might want to mosey through there. And there's a lovely outdoor terrace with a cafe where you can have table service, have a drink, enjoy the view, or go on inside to one of several restaurants in daytime, but come back in the evening for the most spectacular view of all, making a photograph you might treasure as the best shot of the trip. There are simple little restaurants in this neighborhood with good bargains because you're getting somewhat out of the tourist section and more into local territory. The cost of living for a Prague native is less than the European averages, but prices in the tourist restaurants and the nice hotels are as high as you would pay at home. Czech cuisine is based on meat, potatoes, and dumplings, but if you would like a lighter meal, look for Country Life, which is a vegetarian cafeteria on Melantrikova, a block south of the Old Town Square. It is a wonderful restaurant with freshly prepared foods. You're only 2 short blocks from the Old Town Square. There's such an extensive offering of foods just down this alley. You have a salad bar, there's a hot table buffet. You serve yourself and go to the cashier, and they weigh your plate and charge you accordingly. They're open for lunch and for dinner as well. And whether you're vegetarian or not, you would really appreciate this fine, healthy food at Country Life. And they also have an outdoor courtyard for dining. You can sit inside at the rustic wooden tables if you like, or sit out in the courtyard. It's a cobblestone, old-fashioned courtyard surrounded by what had been old residences, and it makes kind of a nice quiet oasis right here in the middle of the city. And this alley is another one of the passages that cut through the mid-blocks of central Prague. And you too can walk along that passage. Interestingly, it heads right into a hotel lobby. This is quite unusual. You're walking along, it's a public right-of-way. Automatic doors will open, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a hotel lobby. It's a classy small hotel. And you keep going out the other side of the lobby, doors open again. You're back on this mid-block public passage that will lead you across the block over to the next street. There's a series of these mid-block passage in this central part of Prague, so go ahead and have some fun and do some meandering.
You know, these streets are great. This is really a favorite part of Europe for me. Just look at this street. It's nothing to it. There's no shops. There's no attractions. It's just an old medieval street, cobblestone lane. Quiet, medieval kind of an atmosphere, especially at twilight. This is a magical moment to come to this very special neighborhood, and it'll continue like this for about 4 blocks this way and 4 blocks in each direction. But you know, during the day on a sunny day, it just doesn't have this magic. This is almost mysterious.
This is Zatizi. Turns out they have a bit of a dress code, so you want to be looking good when you show up at Zatizi or have a reservation. They have one section for locals and another for the visitors. After dinner, it's perfectly wonderful to take an evening stroll back to your hotel through the quiet streets. During the day, this town is pretty crowded, except for the back lanes as we've been showing you. But at night, everything calms down. People are out, the lights are on. Quite a few shops are still open. Of course, the restaurants and bars are still happening. And you'll easily find your way back to your hotel ready for another day.
We have many more programs about Prague and the rest of Europe. Look for them in our collection.
We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.